Brian Barczyk,
Brian,
everybody.
Set
this whole thing
Big
up.
friend of the pod,
podcast.
friend of everybody. Everybody loves Brian. What's up, buddy?
What's going on,
What's
man?
up, man?
Guys, it's great to see you in
How are ya?
person. You
Great
know,
to
I'm
see
doing
you too,
great,
man.
Hey, first of all, for everybody watching this, thank you. Because you set all this up. I don't just mean Animal Con. I mean the pod, the whole Wild Times
Yeah,
Live.
man.
This is all you. This was put this together,
Wow.
allowing
Incredible.
this live stream to happen. This is amazing.
Well, thank you guys, and I mean, you guys are great. I mean, I love watching you all the time. I love being your friends, and so for you guys to actually be here is amazing. I mean, it brings a whole nother level of like dynamic to the show, and I think it's great. Not to mention, I think for the creators to get a chance to hang out and talk to you guys, and you know your audience to get to know
Same.
people. I mean, it's awesome.
Bringing
I mean,
all
it's
these
just-
creators together, dude. Even just this, I'm the everyman on the podcast. I don't know that much. I'm not an expert on animals or anything, but talking to everybody and at the event and everything is really like. You don't get like your curiosity doesn't get that much sparked when you're a middle-aged man. And
That's true.
And
That's a
I'm
good
like,
point.
this is like I'm like
He was just
real-
frothing at Dave Womack.
I
think.
know.
Yeah,
I
he really was.
I really was.
So, okay, look, you're a friend of the pod. You've been on the Wild Times a bunch.
Yep.
Everybody that watches our show probably knows who you are. So instead of doing the typical, like, tell us your story, tell us about Animal Con.
Yeah, I mean, so it really was a brainchild. You know, I was going to VidCon and Playlist Live, which were big YouTube events. I've been doing them for years.
VidCon and?
VidCon, which is in California and LA,
Okay.
and then Playlist was in Orlando.
Okay.
And
Playlist Live.
Yeah,
Can you guys
Playlist
hear?
Live. Yep. And
Can
basically,
you speak up a little bit, Brian?
I'm sorry.
If you can.
Yeah, of
We
course.
don't have speakers. Up
Yeah,
there.
I gotcha.
Unfortunately, we will though.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah, so I would go to Playlist Live and VidCon, which were YouTube creator events. But, you know, you go there and there'd be maybe 2 or 3 animal creators.
Can I ask you a question quickly? How silly were the people at these YouTube conventions?
Oh, my God. Well, number one, I can tell you the difference
you
between
imagine?
Animal Con and
Sure
VidCon
can.
is there's a lot less 13-year-old screaming girls.
Yeah, that adds up.
Because I mean, VidCon is like I'd hang out with like David Dobrik or Logan Paul or something like that, and you'd walk out the door and it'd just be like the Beatles just showed up, you know?
Oh,
It was
Sure,
just like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, you know, and
interesting.
it screamed. It was crazy. So we're a little bit more mature here,
Yeah.
which is good. But so my point was that I thought to myself, like, why can't we do this same format? But just for animal people.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
because I mean, that's what it is. And it was funny. I was just up on stage doing a thing, and I was watching it, and I'm just like, oh my God, you know, there's Tana Serpent Design. There's, you know, Ben from Urban Jungle, you know,
Right, all these
Everybody.
impressive
There's
people.
all these people. I'm like, and they're just like sitting around talking. I'm like, I want to be in that conversation.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
kind of what Animal Con is
Sure.
that people can come and be in that conversation like what's happening right now with Jay Brewer and these guys, you know, and you can kind of hear what people think. So it was just a brainchild of mine, and I'm so grateful that we had, you know, you were here for year 1. Now you guys are here for year 2. And like I said, you guys are always welcome back with the podcast. We'll do everything we do to keep you guys happy. And,
thank you.
and so it's just a place to bring people together and hopefully touch them with that message of love of animals, right?
Sure.
Because that's all I do in life. That's all that matters in life to me is touching people with the idea of like wildlife is so amazing. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
here's something funny to talk about. You know how much I pay attention. Do we get a lot of hate comments on the Wild Times?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Oh,
so-
I
interesting.
do.
well, I figured, but I just wanted to check. Brian and I were just up there. We did like the opening panel a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm sitting there, really out of place. I don't know why this guy always thinks I deserve to be up there with these people, but they
You
all
are-
have millions and millions of like subscribers and followers. And one of the topics that came up was hate. You know?
Yeah.
It like, I look at someone like Brian, okay, and I'm like, nobody can dislike this fucking guy.
No, dude.
Like, not just because he's so
No
likable,
joke.
but all he does is like try and make people care about animals. All he thinks and lives and breathes is for animals. Like, his family adores him. Everybody that knows him adores. He's like the most likable
Just the
fucking human being.
effort to set up an event like this.
Right.
Like, what are you, like, you're not even, you're
All
not
right.
getting that much
But
out
the
of it.
point is,
You know where
it's-
I'm going.
How are you going to get really pissed off at Brian?
And people do,
Enough to
and
be
they
like-
get pissed off at us and everything
Yeah.
else. And so
But
I
we're
thought,
dislikable.
well, we're very dislikable, but
No,
Brian
no,
isn't.
no.
But regardless, my point is, it was interesting being up there with this panel of these giants that all care about like wildlife and have promoted all and animals and stuff, Dingo and these other guys, and everybody gets this negativity, which is crazy. So anyway, I was thinking maybe you could just, because it was interesting listening to you speak up there. but our audience didn't get to hear that. Maybe you could tell these guys in the audience a little bit
I'd
about
love that.
how that goes. It's just
Yeah, it was-
fascinating.
yeah,
You
it
just think, how can people hate people that just care about critters?
Well, I think you're right. I think that it was an interesting thing because like I was for 25 years before YouTube and even 10 years of doing YouTube, I was like the golden child. You know what I mean? Like you said, you couldn't find anybody to say a bad word. And,
Right.
And it's like I always said, like, you know, if yeah,
Sorry.
it's like I've said, you know, anybody that spent 5 minutes with me, you may be like, you know, I don't like the way you guy talks, or I don't like, but like to hate me, it's like I don't know.
Over
like,
the internet.
like yeah, like
so
you know, if you
weird.
spent 5 minutes with me, there's no way you could hate me. But yet I went from like being this golden child of like can't do anything wrong to all of a sudden, it like literally overnight.
Why did that happen? Do you
I think it was success. You know, what happened is it correlated when I started to pop on the internet. You know,
Yeah,
and I
of
went from
course.
like
People hate
the
success.
yeah, almost
They
like
hate
the
it.
homegrown, like you're the reptile homegrown guy, to all of a sudden now you're hanging out with big, you know, bigger YouTube
Also,
celebrities.
your audience is now much broader and larger,
Yeah.
so you're
Right.
bringing in like there's a lot more trolls in
Yeah.
the general population.
Yeah, and I just,
Totally.
but interestingly enough, it was the ex-loyal people that became the haters. As a matter of fact, I just literally,
Really?
after that panel, I talked with someone that was in the audience, and she came up and she said that. She goes, honestly, during that period of time, she goes, I watched you every day. And she said, and then all of a sudden people were saying what a bad guy you were. And she said, I stopped watching you. And she said, and then like a year and a half later, I thought, why did I stop watching this guy? You know,
Interesting.
Dude,
and so I think
peer
that it's
pressure.
like a pack mentality,
Yeah.
and you know that's why it's interesting when you have you know the Mr. Beasts of the world. Although he's just recently gotten a lot of hate,
Has
you
he?
know,
And Mr.
Yeah.
Beast is like doing all this
philanthropic stuff.
Philanthropy.
Yeah, he gives more money away.
Wait.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Say the word.
Philanthropical.
Yep, got it.
Philanthropic.
There you go.
Nailed
It's
it.
pretty good.
Yep,
It's
that's
pretty
I'm
it.
just saying, Mr.
Well,
Beast
also-
is doing all these
also-
good things.
I'm very tempted because they have them at 7-Eleven, the Mr. Beast little crunch bars.
I've never tried one.
They're at the counter, and
I was
one.
there the day I was with Mr. Beast the day that they launched Feastables.
Yeah.
And they literally, we had like this huge set, and they had 2 big front end loaders full of, I mean, they had like, they paid someone, they paid, I think there was 3 girls, they paid for like 2 days in a row to just unwrap candy bars and put them in this front end loader.
Oh,
and
wow.
then they went up over the top of the wall and dumped thousands of candy bars on top of us.
Oh,
Like
wow.
not on top of us,
That
but
sounds
like
really
right
fun,
next to
actually.
Yeah.
And so
That's
yeah.
like every little kid's. If
you
you
try
told
one?
my son that you could dump a metric ton of candy on him, he
Yeah.
would be thrilled.
Well, that was the thing. Like after the shoot, we were like, "Can we just take the candy?" You know, because it's all just on the ground, you know.
right.
And they're like, "Yeah, take what you want." So before it was even launched, I had boxes and boxes. It's actually pretty good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You know, and it's
No, but,
healthier for you.
Back to your point, though, like Mr. Beast, no, like he wasn't hated until he got huge.
Yeah,
and then
and-
you just have like you know
Yeah.
because you have that broader audience come in. You're never. But so how do you handle that? Like what
Well, I
do you
think
do?
that
Ignore it.
really the way I handle it, I handle it very poorly at first. You know, like I mean, like I was like, what do you? Because I had never been hated like my whole life, you know, and all of a sudden it's like you can't get away from the hate. So at first it was very. At first I tried to stop it. Like, wait a second,
Delete.
you don't No. I never delete a comment. I've never deleted a comment. But I would like not argue with them. I would just be like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'd never done that. Like people would say like, oh, you kept monitor lizards in a drawer, and I'm like, I've never done that. And,
Yeah.
and then it just becomes like, well, no, you did. What do you mean? I like,
Yeah.
I
Where?
never did this, you
Right.
know. And
Yeah.
there was actually like a picture that went around where I was, which is my mistake. I shouldn't probably have done this, but I was holding, and I was at an event in Oregon. And a guy literally was like, hey, I do venomoid snakes. This is a venomoid gaboon viper. And he handed me
What's
this.
venomoid?
So they take the venom glands out. Now,
Oh.
in the
know you
reptile
could do
world,
that.
people hate it.
I didn't even know you could do that.
it's like
can do-
declawing a cat.
It's like declawing
Yeah.
a cat.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. And so I probably shouldn't have taken a picture with this venomoid animal. It pissed some people off. But then what ended up happening is another guy.
But just let me interrupt you for a second. You can't live your life like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No
Like,
normal
I
person.
shouldn't take that picture
No.
with that venomoid snake because this niche community of angry people is gonna. It's like.
No, you can't,
live
and
your life
nobody
like
does.
that.
Nobody does live their life like that.
But it's
So-
like
Well, I
hard
think
to
that-
operate.
So basically,
Yeah.
it's just a moment. You're
Yeah,
just
you
like,
just
"Oh, I'll
have to.
take the
Yeah, I
picture."
mean,
Right.
yeah. I mean, literally, the guy handed it to me. I was like, I love Gaboon vipers. I'm never going to hold a Gaboon viper,
Right,
by
free
hand.
handling
And now
it,
it's like,
yeah.
wow, this is pretty
Yeah, it's
cool.
like kinda like a dream
But what
of yours.
happened was literally a guy took the same guy later in the day. I was not around, did not witness this. I didn't have anything to do with this. I guess some 10-year-old kids-ish were holding a rattlesnake with this venomoid
Smart,
rattlesnake,
really
right?
smart.
And so someone took my picture of the Gaboon viper and then put the kids next to it.
Oh
and there
my
was two
God.
different pictures. I
Yeah.
mean, two different backgrounds, the whole shot. And it just said, can you believe Brian would do this? And then, and literally 2 years, I'll tell you, so for 2 years I heard that, so much so that the director of the Bronx Zoo, I went to go visit the Bronx Zoo, and he was like, Brian, I've always loved you. You're a great guy and stuff. He goes, but man, the time that you let those kids hold that rattlesnake, that wasn't cool. And I was like, I never did that. That wasn't me. That was someone photoshopped that into my pictures. So, so
sad,
anyways,
man.
the point is, I didn't handle it. I was always trying to I didn't do this. I didn't. Finally, I just got to a point where I was like, you can believe what you want. I
Yeah,
know
who
in my
cares?
heart what kind of guy I am. I know that all I do ever is I sacrificed my entire life for animals.
Right.
Yeah.
My entire life for animals, and my family is sacrificed. And so you just get to a point where you're like, I'm not even going to care.
You got to
I don't
do
care.
it. That's how it's
and
got to be.
And then interestingly enough, as soon as I stopped caring, the hate stopped. Because the haters want you to care.
They do.
Of
They
course.
want you
Right.
to
They
care.
want you to engage.
Yeah, and when you
And you should, by the way, always argue on the internet.
Yeah, always
It
argue.
never
You-
goes
You-
poorly.
yes, you
yeah.
should argue with people on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, not caring about when someone's very angry is a tactic that I've deployed with my wife.
Oh yeah, that
and
works
She
well.
loves it.
Yeah.
That
for
works
sure.
well.
When she's upset about something and I just am smiling, she really likes it a lot.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really
It
good.
usually stops the argument.
Is that when you then calmly say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, that also
Or-
works
or
really
calm
well.
down.
Stop being crazy. That
Oh,
goes
yeah.
really well.
Stop
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
crazy.
stop
That
being
goes over
crazy.
well.
That goes
Yeah.
over
No,
really
but
well.
it does. It works in the comments.
It
too.
does. You
Yeah.
missed the podcast that Brian where he filled in for you.
I did listen to it, though.
We basically spent an hour talking about his new venture of
The
him
Reptarium.
opening,
Yeah. And the
well, him
aquarium.
opening an aquarium.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. In the old Vons, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I listened
exactly.
to it. It was
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But since you weren't there, Brian, we just talked a little bit off camera. He's agreed that what you get to pick one creature,
Yeah.
and whatever you pick, he's going to put in the new sea
Are you just
aquarium.
putting him on the spot right now?
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything you want. Anything
Okay.
you want. I mean, if it's like
Okay.
a beluga
But-
whale, I mean, we only have like a
Yeah, yeah,
10-gallon
yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna
aquarium,
do
though.
that to you. I'm not
We
gonna
only
do
have a
that to you.
10-gallon aquarium, so
Yeah.
make
The,
it.
the one,
gallon
the one,
aquarium.
the one
A
stip-
beta fish.
one-
I just want a beta fish. That's all I want.
No, you don't want to put it. Trust me, don't ever put that you put a beta fish in a 10-gallon aquarium online
get lit-
because you will get
lit up.
destroyed.
Yeah,
If
it-
it's
too
under
small?
a 40-gallon, it's too small.
If it's under a 40-gallon?
If it's under a 40
Don't
gallon,
forget
it's
that
too
they
small.
sell them in Dixie cups
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Petco,
yeah,
but if you put it under a 40-gallon.
The one
All right.
stipulation though is
Yeah.
that you must put a mermaid tail on and be in the aquarium for 1 weekend out of the year.
I was
every
already
year.
planning on doing
Okay,
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
Saw
All
the
right,
show on
what would
Netflix.
what would it be?
What's your animal that you want to see in the new sea aquarium?
A marine or fresh or whatever I like.
Whatever you want. We got both.
It's I think it's my favorite freshwater fish, and it's not even that hard to get. A giant paddlefish.
Oh.
I want a big
The
paddlefish.
look on Brian's face
Yeah.
right there. That
Have
was
you seen
genuine.
the platinum paddlefish? The,
No,
the
but
silver ones.
that's now it. That's now it. I want a
That's-
platinum American
He's
paddlefish.
in.
Okay, I love it.
And I'll come with a platinum tail, a
Yeah.
lovely wig,
Yeah.
a shelled bikini top.
Yeah.
Shelled bikini cut
Yeah.
needs to be.
Have you
Yeah.
guys seen paddlefish?
No.
Unbelievably
Only
cool.
in
They have this
pictures.
giant nose
Big
that
rostrum.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Filter feeders, they
Oh.
open their mouth. It's like a basking shark
Yeah.
with a.
And they
weird,
get
very
big.
interesting
They get
fish to
big.
look
you know?
at.
Yeah.
But we do have.
And you manage that because that's
yeah,
a big
we
fish.
have a 20,000-gallon freshwater tank that's going to be for predator fish, which a paddlefish would be.
You could put it in
in
there.
with predator fish.
Be
so,
fine. There
yeah.
we go.
What would
Yeah.
go?
Plus
what,
me and the mermaid tail.
Plus,
Don't forget
we
that.
can fit you in there.
yeah.
You're in
Oh.
there for sure.
what,
Gonna
what
look
would go
good.
in with the paddlefish? Like,
Well,
what would you
so
put in the predator
arowana,
tank?
red-tailed
I figure
catfish.
you're already getting arapaima,
Yeah,
arowana.
arowana,
You're
yep,
already getting all those.
getting
big
all that.
pacu,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you got to have
You know
them.
all these, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course,
I
yeah.
studied
He's just
before.
going
I
down
came.
to the Everglades to grab some arapaima.
That's all he has
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, yeah,
Did you
yeah.
see that big arapaima they found in the Everglades?
I did not, but I'm
It was
intrigued.
like the size of this table, like the tables put together. This was what?
Oh,
2
yeah, I
years ago?
remember
We
that.
talked
Yeah,
about it on
we
the pod.
talked about it on the pod.
Some guy was fishing
Huge.
and just found a dead arapaima in the glades that was like 14 feet long.
Legit,
Oh
size
my
of this table.
gosh, yeah, that's
it was
incredible.
huge.
We did just pick up a 6 foot, which is pales in comparison to that 6 foot, 180-pound Arapaima.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, that yeah.
Awesome.
So that's and we
When's,
have another smaller one that's about 5
When's
foot.
the
but-
aquarium going to be ready?
Well, if Santa is good to me, which I've been a good boy this year, we're hoping Christmas.
Nice.
That's exciting. Are you doing a big
Soon.
grand opening?
Yeah, we're gonna do. We'll do like a soft opening that will probably be for our patrons or whatever the case is,
Yeah.
and then we'll do a big grand opening where and we have we have the whole metropolitan Detroit area is behind us, so we have like every chamber of commerce, every
Yep.
mayor
Yep.
from
That's
every
great.
surrounding, they all want to come and
I'm
do a
definitely
rever-
coming out for your opening.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm not
It's-
kidding.
it-
I
I would
love to
love
come
film
out.
it real
Dude,
quick. We'll do
were
it.
you invited?
I'm
Yes,
self-invited.
he's
Well,
invited.
gonna be
He's
there.
invited.
Gonna-
I promise you.
Of course he's going to be there.
I'm the main attraction
Yeah.
in my
Yeah, the
Silver
mermaid, the
tank.
paddlefish.
Overtail.
Someone's got to put the paddlefish in the
That's
tank.
it, yeah.
Can a mermaid live with a paddlefish?
I mean, it depends which version of Disney you watch.
Okay, all right.
So
Perfect.
since the pod, which was that was only 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
Any big advancements?
In the aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of turning the corner now, right? Like it's one of those things that if you guys, I'm sure, have been in projects where it's like it seems like nothing is happening and
Right,
it's
you're just-
frustrating, and you're like, what's going on? And then you finally hit that thing where it's like, bam, it's all happening,
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
right now it's like it's all happening, So
That's
it's
great.
as a matter of fact, we just the front of the building we did a lot. I mean, we talked about it on the
Yep.
podcast. We put $1 million into the front of the building just so it looks cool. And so literally yesterday the glass went in.
Oh,
So
nice.
so of course,
How are you here right now?
I know.
It's so hard.
This
It's
guy
so
does
hard.
more than anybody
Anybody.
I've ever met. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
but I love it, and I mean that's what keeps me going, and I love it. But so my workers back at the shop were sending me pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can't believe I wasn't here when the glass went in, because the glass, that's like there's a lot of glass.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the entire front of the building is basically glass.
Right.
It's a huge wave. It's like this giant wave of glass to
It's
kind of
awesome.
simulate a wave.
Epic.
Yeah.
And it's bluish tint, and the fact that I'm not there when it's being done, it kills me. But
Yeah,
I'm
you get
happy to be here,
You
and
get to
I'm
go
not
get the
complaining.
big reveal.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just going to be
Sweet.
done.
Yeah.
So let me
Oh,
ask
no,
you a
please,
quick
go
one,
ahead.
Brian. Peter, on the flight yesterday, because we had an early flight, two of us flew together. Wake up in the morning, we drag our asses to LAX.
Yes.
Groggy,
Yep.
dour. And we were just talking about the event, and he was like, dude, every time we talk to Brian, man, his energy is through the roof. What's your morning go-to? Do you wake up,
Good
slug a
question.
glass of water and a coffee? Do you eat
I
a big
don't.
bowl
So
of
I don't do
granola?
any energy or caffeine. I've never done caffeine,
Interesting.
That's the
or
secret.
any
He's
energy
high
or
on
anything
life.
like that.
That's the
No, I
secret.
really, seriously, I am. I mean, I think that I get up early. I get up at 6ish every day. And I think when you're excited about what you do,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you're really like, I'm not talking like, yeah, I like my job. I mean, like you cannot think of anything else in the world you'd rather be doing than your job.
Yeah.
Right,
It gives
right.
you the energy, right?
that.
Absolutely.
And that's what my life is. And Jay Tomsky, who's my filmer, he's heard me say it. He's been with me for 5 years now. I say it, and this is really the truth. I don't do anything that I don't want to do.
Love, that's
Nothing.
amazing.
I mean,
you get
but-
to a certain age, and it's just like,
yeah.
Done.
yeah.
Yeah,
it be
you just,
nice,
I mean,
though?
even when there's like great financial opportunity, someone will be like, oh, I'll give you 50 grand to do this. And you're like, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
like don't want, it's like if I'm not passionate about it, I'm not
You
interested.
probably know you're not going to do as good of a job if you're
Right,
not
yeah.
passionate
Yeah.
about it as well.
Yeah.
Can I make an assumption?
Yes.
I bet you were a C student in school.
100% C student.
I swear to God.
100%.
You know how I know? Because I was mostly a
Yeah,
C student.
sure, yeah,
because the subjects that I loved, I was straight A's. I freaking loved them. Everything else I was like, don't care.
But I
don't
will
care
tell.
if I fail it.
I will tell you. There's a caveat to that. I went to a year and a half of college only, so I didn't graduate. I was a 4.0 student then
Yeah.
because I was trying to prove my dad wrong.
There you
that
go.
he said I was stupid.
You needed a motivator.
And I was like, oh, I'm
Motivated,
yeah.
stupid, huh? You
Love
don't think
that.
I can get A's? And I was a 4.0 student
Sounds
for
like
the
a
year
bit
and
of
a half.
a piece of shit. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, God rest his soul.
Yeah. Same.
no,
My dad, too. It's fun.
I was messing with you. He's been gone a long time, and he was a piece of shit.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. No, he was. Thank God I learned the lessons from him to not be that dad to my kids.
All right. Well, on that
but,
note, we'll sit. No.
yeah. No, but it motivated me to do things, right? It motivated
absolutely,
you
man.
lose that negative energy and you motivate yourself to do things and I just wanted to prove to myself that I could be a straight A student if I wanted to be. But like you said, I just didn't care.
Yeah, you just didn't care.
Like I was a biology a biology nut. Like you put me in microbiology,
Kill it.
I am like loving it. You put me in a math class and I have no interest.
That's exactly how I was.
Or
Geometry,
English.
come on.
Yeah,
Useless.
like
Are you
really,
kidding
Hey,
me?
we're never all going to walk around with a calculator in our pockets.
Never.
Remember what every
Never.
teacher
Could
told you?
never
Exactly.
happen.
Never happened.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, Brian, last thing before we let you go, unfortunately. We always love having you on.
Yeah.
Today is the industry day, so it's just the creators.
Yep.
Tell us, if people are watching this at home and they're in the area, where do they come? What do they do? How do they come to AnimalCon? How do they see us and join the audiences? Give us the spiel.
Yeah, so it's animalconusa.com. You can go online, buy tickets there, or you can just show up at the Caribe Royale in Orlando. It's right down in Orlando, and you can show up and buy a ticket on the spot if you want to come in for a day. You can even buy
you
can buy VIP tickets
really
to hang
fun.
out at night and drink beer with Forrest, because he drinks a lot of beer at night.
He'll have his mermaid
You
tail.
can meet, what's it, Sparky the monkey? Kinsey.
Kinsey monkey.
Kinsey
Yep,
monkey.
We're very
Kinsey monkey,
interested
yep.
in that.
Yeah, we are
A lot
very
of
interested in
questions
Kinsey
about that,
monkey.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian,
We're all
for
just
putting
monkeys.
this event on.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks,
You're the best,
buddy.
man.
man.
Love you, man.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Thanks
All right.
for coming on.
Brian,
Yeah.
we'll see you up over by the water slide around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, let's get some
I'll
slides
still
in.
be up.
Water slide.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brian.
brother.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Much
man.
All right.
appreciated.
What a champion.